3 seasons ago on the Gotham Chronicle podcast.
On the street, they're, giving her compliments and helping her out with clothing, so perhaps this is the most uplifted she's ever been. She's getting something out of them emotionally, I think. But I think that this whole situation is very weird, and they really do need to go. And Barbara something needs to happen. Like, I wish they would kill off the character. And then there's a reboot, and we have, Barbara Keene 2.0.
How would that even, the whole show,
Well, you were talking about, maybe, yeah, that's a good way. So she dies. Jim goes, he's fraught.
What is happening right now?
And he decides to himself, I'm telling you what's going to happen. And he decides, I've heard of this place, this mystical place, and I think it's really going to be calm and serene for me. I'm going to go to Nanda Parbat. Now, also Nanda Parbat is this younger looking, 20-ish looking, even though he's really 100 or more, Ra's al Ghul, going by Ralph. And,
you're on fire tonight.
And so he is. They actually end up becoming friends. And his parting gift, Ralph Ghul, Jim, is this canister of something, and he says, I can help you with what you're struggling with, and I can bring Barbara back. So then Jim comes back to Gotham from Nanda Parbat, and for the rest of this season, he's got this vial on the top of Barbara's mantelpiece, because he actually moves back into her.
Of course he does.
And it's, of course, and then above the mantelpiece, of course, is a nice little 36 by 42 picture of Barbara in her best moment, pre-drugs and Renee and all those sorts of things. And so the rest of the season he stares at this. That's how those episodes end. But the next season, at some point, he decides to resurrect her. And she actually comes back a little crazy, but she gets better, and she becomes a better Barbara Gordon. And I just wrote basically an Emmy-winning story arc for
Emmy-winning.
Emmy-winning.
What's Lee doing during all of this?
Well, he pushed her away, unfortunately, because of his depression, and she said, I don't want to date somebody pining after a ghost.
Bruce Wayne calling?
No. We released a citywide bolo.
About that name I gave you.
Zip. I tried Richard Gould, Ralph Ghul.
Detective Gordon. Ra's al Ghul. Minister of Antiquities attached to the Consulate of Nanda Parbat.
My name is Jim Gordon, and I am proud to be a member of the Force GCPD. There's Bullock and Lucius and my evil ex-Lee. I murder her husband, so she's pissed at me. And now I found a place where crime never stops. I will shoot them all. I am the hopeless cop.
Hello, and you are listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast, powered by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out the BatmanUniverse.net for this and many other great Batman podcasts. I'm Josh, and joining me is...
This is Donovan.
This is Jan.
And we're going to be taking a look at The Demon's Head. Ben McKenzie's turn to, write all of his favorite characters, to take out all of his Gotham action figures and, play with them toys. So the first thing he does is, Bruce Wayne, who knows that, the second that he brought this knife home, Selena Kyle tried to break into his house, knowing how dangerous it is, takes it to, an unguarded museum with, a defenseless old man and his, little grandson say, I'm just going to leave this here with you guys. I'm sure that your lives won't be irrevocably ruined for a while. Little does he suspect that Barbara Keene and Ra's al Ghul, I'm going to get it right one day. I'm correcting myself without being corrected, though, so that's a start.
In my mind, I thought something.
Yeah. and Ra's al Ghul and Barbara Keene have a dog man who can... Yeah? So he goes after them, and stuff happened, and the knife changes hands a few times, and Ra's al Ghul puts on, a Clark Kent-esque, disguise, which was awesome. And then, to which Alfred, is that's not the ambassador, takes off the glasses. That's Ra's al Ghul. Punch. But lots of shenanigans happen, and Bruce Wayne, at the end, he must choose between giving this inanimate object to Ra's al Ghul or letting this human boy die. So Gordon's like, all right, nobody likes bloodshed, especially me. I mean, I've never killed a man, certainly not Mario or anything. So Bruce, give him the knife. Yeah, I think I like my knife. Realize if you don't give him this knife, that guy's gonna die. So Raish slits the throat, gets arrested, but Bruce still has the knife, so yay. I should mention that as much as Gordon doesn't like bloodshed, he did kill 2 people in that scene, so there's that.
Yeah, he did.
He killed the dog guy very, very comically.
Does that count as a guy, though?
It's animal abuse.
We will get into that, because what? Ben McKenzie's, he's writing this. He's like, and then there's a guy who's half man, half dog. Can we hire one of those?
Oh my God!
Ben. Ben, you're asking us to hire a half man, half dog hybrid? Yeah. Those exist, right? How about we just get a guy to pretend to be a dog? I guess. My artistic vision ruined.
I can't.
Sophia Falcone plays Penguin like a fiddle, and we do see the return of some Italian mobsters. It felt just like season 1 for 5 minutes, and then they all died. And she winks at Gordon don't worry, I have Penguin right where I want him, and I have you right where I want you, because homeless cop action is his reward.
Oh God!
But it wouldn't be a Ben McKenzie written episode without not one. We thought we were going to get one because it was in the promos, but no, not one, but two different rap musical sequences, which Ben McKenzie claimed on Twitter he wrote themselves, because the Riddler, who has lost his Riddling powers, uses rappers to communicate his message, to which Penguin says, your riddles suck, I don't even want to kill you anymore, be gone, be gone you.
Basically.
So that's the gist of, I guess, the 3 plot lines. Is there another plot line that I'm forgetting in my haste here?
Penguin, Riddler,
Sophia,
Falcone, Bruce. No one else was in this one.
Yeah, when Tabitha said she was going to show up for work on Monday, it's been that was 2 weeks ago, and we've yet to see her.
But that's good though, because it gave us a chance to really focus on different storylines. I mean, Tabitha really doesn't have anything to do right now. I guess they were just trying to set it up pretty early to show this is what's been going on.
Yeah, and there's still characters that we haven't seen yet, like Lee and Solomon Grundy, so they'll get to them.
My Butch kill scene.
All right, so to figure out what plotline we're going to discuss first, we're going to spin the wheel, and it has a Gordon and Bruce head, a Penguin and Sophia head, and a Riddler head. Let's see where it lands. Tick, 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 tick. Don, where did it land?
You said Penguin, Riddler, Sophia. I guess Sophia. That's that probably the least talkative point. Would you agree?
Liar! You can't even see the wheel.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, Sophia's the least talkative thing. It's I don't have much to say about her that I didn't say last week, which was that I'm very, very horrified, and I think it's very inappropriate for her and Gordon to be together, but that's where we're going with this. And I did like her playing the Penguin, and I liked her little speech to him, this is what Falcone would have done, and this is how he would have done it and why it would have worked. And Penguin, you can see that gets him. Then he just shrugs it off well, I'm not Falcone, toodles. And as I said in the recap, when I saw those big Italian guys, it felt like season 1 all over again. But otherwise, I don't have much to say about that plot.
We talked about this a little bit, but off the mic. But Crystal Reed's a really good actress. She really sold a lot of those things. I actually like all the Penguin scenes, but I'll get into that in a bit. But it was an interesting twist where she was making the Penguin unaware of her intentions. So that was good for this version of the character. But I'm still mourning the loss of what could have been. And just to kind of, reiterate, this is not Sophia Gigante from the comics is not like, my favorite character or anything. She's not somebody I'm going to follow my sword for, She's not like Cassandra Cain or anything like that. But I mean, I maintain that like taking a character in how she was from the comics, a very imposing, intimidating, non-traditional female character who had a real presence and kind of just turned into like, I'm playing the long game, and while I'm doing that, I'm making out with Jim Gordon. Like, to me, it's honestly just not good enough. And Crystal Reed's doing her best, but in terms of the writing, I'm still not happy with like the choice of this that the show. And here's a new character. We're going to have to do this kind of stuff. That it's like they just write the cliches to be there, almost no matter what. So it's like I appreciate the actor more than the character at this point.
I can see where you're coming from, and yeah, I do agree that it would have been really interesting to have like a different type of character, but I feel like they wouldn't have been able to like write her properly. I feel like they would have written her more like some sort of if they wrote her a character like that, they would have wrote her really awkwardly, because I don't feel like they would know what to do with it. They just for some reason need to pump this show full of femme fatales, and she's actually one of the femme fatale, what's it called? It's not a cutout. It's not
Stereotype?
No, not a stereotype.
Pin-up?
Trope? Cliche? Archetype?
She's one of the bulls. I don't know. It's like a specific word, but it means all those things. You know what I mean. You know when you have that word and you can't find it. But yeah, she's one of those that the type that I really enjoy to watch and read. The only thing that bothers me is like it's the eternal cleavage. She's always wearing the same cut shirt. I'm just like, do you not have any other clothes? Maybe you should get a new designer. I mean, I love looking at her, but she needs some, I don't know.
Not as much as Gordon does. Oh, giggity goo.
Oh my gosh, that's the one thing. Like, I love what she did with Penguin. I loved how she was like, she could do that thing with her face. She didn't even look like, you knew she was like faking all of it, but she didn't look like she was faking it. I was just in there like, girl.
It's funny you say that, because Dawn did not think she was faking.
Should've. Yeah, she had me fooled, but go ahead.
The whole, I didn't come here to do this and that and the other. Like, I just came here to blah, blah, blah. With Penguin, like, I have all these charities I need to run. Like, she was like, I was like, I love you. But like the only thing that bothered me was she's like, yeah, well, I have control now. And Jim is like, you can't have control. I need control. I'm going to throw your wine glass. I was like, what is this? And then he grabs her head and kisses her and throws her on the couch. And I was just like, what just happened?
Yeah, I mean, she's hot, but like, I just don't really feel the genuine attraction between the two of them. I mean, they can write it in the show, but like, it feels very forced. Like, they don't write it well enough where I'm buying it.
It's
poor Mario spinning in his grave.
Oh man, like, but it's just, it was a really weird scene, because it was like watching, to me it felt like I was watching Jim with Valerie Vale again. There was like, it's going, like, there's a difference between like, if they could just do like heavy animal magnetism, that was one thing. But with Valerie Vale, it was like, she's like, yeah, I'll sleep with you. And he was like, but we're going to be in love. This is just like, I don't trust you, but I'm going to bone you anyway. And I'm sitting here like, what's happening? But it felt more, honestly, to me. And I don't know if this is what Ben was going for. When he took that glass and he smashed it and then like got on top of her, it was kind of like, well, you might have control later, but I've got control here. Trying to like, regain.
You'll never finish your drink.
No, I mean like trying to control her in bed.
Like alpha male kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It felt like he was clearly, if you look at his face, he was clearly like, I don't have control of my city, and she's going to hand it to me. This woman is going to hand me something.
A homeless cop never is not on top.
Exactly.
God.
But yeah, so like to me, that's how the scene read. but I don't know. It was just him trying to gain control of some part of the situation, and apparently boning her is that control that he has. That's something that he can decide to do. Because she said, yeah, you decided to bring us back to take over the city, and this is what you're getting, but I'm going to have control of the city, and then I'll give you part of it, is basically what she said.
Does this show know what sex is like? You bring up Mackenzie's writing, and I was thinking to myself that I don't know how much of the season is an outline, like what parts happen in which episodes, and how much was Ben McKenzie writing the script. Were there certain parts of this episode that the season needed to have happen, or was every scene Ben McKenzie? And I have no idea. I don't know which was his and which was the producers, but if that was his idea, I don't know.
His original draft of the scene, she's like, "Oh, Gordon,"
I actually really liked a lot of the writing in this episode, though. I was very surprised. Other than, Balloon Man showing up again in the form of a dog.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, what?
With Balloon Man?
Oh no, my old nemesis, Balloon Man.
God.
I love Gordon's way of defeating him.
Yeah, I watched that happen. And I was getting ready for work, and I was just staring at my screen with my eyeliner in my hand, hey, just watch.
What kind of eyeliner is this?
Clean up on aisle 7.
He all but said that, yeah.
Oh my god!
I agree with you though that and we'll get into with some of the other characters, but there were some scenes I was really engaged with the character interplay from the script.
Yeah, he was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see another episode written by him, actually.
And I think he's directing again later too, because he's directed before, but now he's writing. But yeah, there was lines that made me laugh, which we'll get into too. What was your question, Jan?
Did he write and direct this one?
It was because he
wrote.
He Instagrammed the script, and he said written by Ben McKenzie, directed by so and so. But last year, last year he directed one of the Court of Owls. I think he directed the episode which ended with him becoming a member of the Court of Owls, which was silly as shit. But
oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say the one that killed Mario.
Now everyone hoot. Hoot, hoot.
Cut.
I have to say this now because I'm going to keep thinking about it until later, but I was watching that first episode, and I was watching Bullock shoot Mario Pepper, and I was like, oh wait, he didn't kill more than one Mario, he just killed the one. And then a few scenes later it's I killed him, and he goes, we killed him, and I was like, he wanted credit anyway.
Just call him Commissioner or Lieutenant Bowser.
Exactly.
Kill all Mario. Mario Pepper, who's been very, very much forgotten about. Because I even remember in season 2, Galavan's oh, they never found the man that killed your parents, did they? And I'm like, doesn't the public think that it's Mario Pepper? But okay. A funny thing about the Sophia thing is, Don and I spoke after he saw the episode, and he's like, and Sophia being tricked by Penguin that way, and I had to say to him, no, she was playing him. Did you fall for her act just like Robin Lord Taylor did? Which apparently did.
I was no, Josh, no, I didn't.
Donovan, you are falling for her act. If that doesn't come across, that's supposed to be my Nigma voice, because Nigma.
I know, I was like, oh my god, it's Nick Mobblepot.
And now we kiss.
Which I guess let's get into them before we get into the main event, because that was I enjoyed that. There was so many moments that made me laugh in that, Penguin saying, "I'll just get Victor to freeze him again," and then I was just like, "Wait, what?" No, the other Victor.
Yes, that was good. That was good. I love that.
And then the end where Mr. Freeze comes on and he's like, same pose or different pose? No! All right, same pose it is.
Yes,
that was funny. I think that was Ben McKenzie having fun with it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's legit, though. That's a really good question. Never mind, continue. I forgot what I was going to say.
I mean, yeah, just anything about that Penguin Riddler plot. We have to have a reason why they're not trying to kill each other because otherwise it's too big of a repeat of last season. So I like this way of like closing the door on their war for now, and I totally bought Penguin letting him go based on what was happening because
he has to suffer more.
Yeah, well, it's first of all they grow up to become the characters from the comics, so like they can't kill each other, so we have to like prolong this. And if he would have got him froze again, that actually would have been hilarious if like he gets refrozen an episode later. But I knew from like
Riddler at 2 comes over. It's Isabella.
And it's that clone of the last one.
I'm Chelsea Speck. I'm here to free you.
Oh my god!
Is this some kind of joke?
He sounds like the kid from Malcolm in the Middle.
Stevie. You know who was on Malcolm in the Middle though, from Gotham?
Who?
Oh, I don't know.
Of all the members of the main cast, guess which one of them was a regular, like, supporting character on Malcolm in the Middle in the early seasons?
Donald Logue.
Yeah, I was about to say Donald Logue too. Well, he had his own television show, didn't he?
Nope. Drew Powell, Butch Gilzine. He was one of Francis's classmates in the military academy.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I miss him so much. How many episodes are we in? Where is he?
Next week.
Yeah, the promo.
Yeah, next week. Next week. He was a nice guy when I interviewed him at New York Comic Con. But yeah, I love the big Marvel pot stuff more than last week. So, and I love Penguin just being like, "Your riddles suck, Oswald. I'm going to kill you." Oh, this again, like.
Oh my gosh, the rappers were so funny though, and like Zaz was like, yeah, he was like kind of into the beat, and he's like, let's torture them.
I was like, we torture them now? Why not?
Yeah.
Stab you.
Like, oh shoot.
Well, who did she say he was gonna stab?
Wasn't that? I know. I think like Penguin pointed to Zaz when they were talking to Sophia, and yeah, Zaz was like, "I'll stab you."
Yes. I was so happy he said something involving knives. Like, look how happy I am. He's just like, ooh, he's gonna stab somebody instead of shoot them. Yes.
I feel that like Zaz, or the actor's name is Anthony something, but I feel that like it's almost as though he's a regular character at this point. He's been consistently appearing.
Well, because without Butch, like, you kind of need someone to like be side by side with.
You need comedy relief.
He needs the henchman. Yeah, he needs that henchman.
Yeah, and they can't make him a regular character because otherwise he'll never appear again. Just
well, tell Jen what I told you about Mr. Freeze in this.
Okay, yeah, just it's very, very weird that we're at a point in the show in season 4 where like Mr. Freeze can literally come on for a walk-on role for 45 seconds, like just walk on the stage and walk off. And it's not a big deal, and as audience members, we're like not surprised, like, "Ooh, Mr. Freeze is here." It's just like, "Oh yeah, Gotham's to the point now where like not only is Mr. Freeze on, but like he's so established on the show that like he could just like come on as a henchman for half of a scene and then leave."
Yeah, it took me a second to remember like that he was the one who put him in the thing in the first place, and then I also remembered back in season 2, like Penguin helped all the freaks out at the end after he tried to murder all of them.
Well, it's also the fact that, like, in this show about, the beginning of Batman and the beginning of Gotham, Mr. Freeze was established in only season 2, and not, like, season 4 or 5 or 6. Like, you would think that Mr. Freeze would be, like, a heavier hitter than that, but, I guess not.
I feel like there's still some stuff they could do with them. I mean, he's got some, his wife is, like, melted, but they could still do stuff with him that's pretty heavy if they wanted to. I mean, he's completely campy now, but
yeah, I'm open to suggestions because I don't know.
Honestly, whenever he comes on, he's just kind of like there as like an enforcer, like a background like Boba Fett-esque like character, just to like come on and like, because wasn't there an episode last season where like he was just there for one scene to like freeze a car or something like that.
Oh, that was
and
with
and then we never saw him again in that episode. He was just there to like freeze a car and do nothing else.
That was with that girl from like Indian Hill that like Bruce was chasing, and like he froze her. And
That was season 2.
Was that season 2?
Yeah.
I honestly don't
If it was a girl from Indian Hill, I think it would have been season. No, you're right. Because we go into Indian Hill at the end of season 2.
Yeah, because season 3 is Court of Owls and
Right.
Mad Hatter. Gosh,
Mad Hatter.
I
the
feel
Tetch virus.
Oh man.
He's. I love
inject
season 3,
myself with
but I hated the Alice Tech, like Mad Hatter saga.
I liked Alice Tetch. I just hated the Mad Hatter. He was so obnoxious. And then when Jim slashed his throat, I was just like, yes! Oh, who's gonna survive? No!
I know.
Are you guys done with Nigamagomus?
Yeah, I know you're chomping at the bit for like the central stuff. Anything else to say, Jan?
Just that I really liked that the rapper showed up twice. Like, the second time was an excellent treat. Because I was like, okay, cool. So I was actually surprised they showed up in that little promo. I thought that was, like, just a little thing they threw on there for, like, a joke. And then they showed up. I was like, wait. And then they showed up again. I was like, this is the best episode I've ever seen.
Ben McKenzie needs to write every week.
Just have, like, those homeless people show up to rap.
Gordon's a poet and he doesn't know it.
Of course. In an episode that Ben McKenzie's writing, the homeless people are the talented musicians.
Well, Gordon wasn't like playing the cello or anything like that.
It's like so funny.
No,
they were, like,
he was just having sex with like the mafia princess and threatening to arrest Alfred as Officer Harper was making goo eyes at him, and he like murdered 2 people. Of course, no, nothing like playing the cello. So this is the main plot line, which there's so much to talk about with this.
Yes,
Alexander Siddig.
Yeah.
Am I saying? I can't say his character or his actor's name right.
just say Al Ghul or Ralph Ghul.
Yes. Okay. You know what? We've talked about this off mic. I can't believe I didn't open this. I need to find the episode where Stella said, "How have we gone this far into the podcast without mentioning this?" Officer Harper is listing different aliases for like Ra's al Ghul, and she says, "I looked up this. I looked up Ralph Ghul, and I rewound that like twice to make sure." Now, she didn't say Ralph Ghoulie like Stella did, but Ralph Ghul, and it's close enough to Ralph Ghoulie that I was like, and then like 30 seconds later, like Nanda Parbat was mentioned, which Stella and her like fake Ralph Ghoulie backstory mentioned, and I was like, oh my gosh. But that was like something else, and people have been like, "Aha!" So Ben McKenzie listens to your podcast. I don't think that's the case.
I really hope he
like,
doesn't.
if he did, he would have punched me in the face every single time I met him. Like, it's you.
Homeless got my ass.
No, he agreed with him. Remember, they were trying to fight for that home together.
Yeah. We campaigned. We teamed up to build a home for Gordon. Like, as if we were
did he put his arm around you? I'm so glad you care about this.
Not around me, but he put it on like my shoulder. Like we had like a moment. Like it was.
Oh my god! Okay,
but
you're saying.
I think that Ralph Ghul is like an easy name to like come up with if you're thinking of like what would be like an Americanized like way of saying Ra's al Ghul. So
it's so insane that like it's just like what we said before. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That was. I need to. Go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing.
But regardless, like Siddig, he was awesome in this. When he showed up as like his like Clark Kent version of like Ra's al Ghul, like I love that like Ra's al Ghul has like a secret identity, and like this version he's like, oh yes, I'm the ambassador of like and at one point I'm thinking, is this just gonna be his like thing this whole season where he's gonna like put on people clothes and like pretend to and like pretend to be
as opposed to what? he's not a Namek.
Demon clothes.
He's gonna put on like people clothes and like pretend to be a businessman, but then like Alfred just like and Jim knows that it's him, and like Ra's has a good idea that Jim
it's like Commodore Schmidlap from the 60s movie.
Each of them know that they're bullshitting each other, but they're going along with it. Then Alfred just shows up and says, "Oh no," and punches him in the face, and it's okay, that's the end of Clark Kent Al Ghul,
I was really sad about that because he looked really good.
I did love Sean Pertwee in this episode. He's been angry before, but he's like, "Where the bloody hell's Gordon?" And where the hell's Bruce Wayne? And he decks Ra's al Ghul in the face. That was quite awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. In this, and of course, another way that you can tell Ben McKenzie wrote it is that scene with him and Alfred arguing, where Gordon is obviously coming out on top. Officer Harper, arrest Alfred for what? Anything you want, Gordon.
You'll think of something. I'm sitting here obstruction of justice.
Well, yeah. On the one hand, it's in character. On the other hand, it's corrupt as shit.
How many times has Alfred broken into GCPD and punched someone he wasn't supposed to?
Remember that one time he pulled a gun off the Gordon Aldridge? It's his move. I was like, what?
Didn't he stab a woman's hand?
Yes.
It's his move.
Yes.
He
took Hugo Strange to a roof and threatened to throw him off. And Gordon's it's okay, he's got this.
Homeless butler.
Yeah.
Technically, he was homeless at one point. Remember?
Was he? What?
Alfred?
He got fired.
Accessing Bertoni memories.
Oh! In season 2, yeah, when he broke the computer.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, go ahead.
No. You explain it.
He was trying to protect Bruce by destroying the computer about Indian Hill so he wouldn't get harmed. So he fired him and told him to leave. So he was a homeless butler.
Say it twice.
I can't believe I've forgotten about that.
I actually love that episode. That's the same episode where Essen dies, but
I do remember Bruce being no. I do remember Bruce's reaction. I didn't remember Alfred being fired. He must have been hired back an episode later.
Yeah, he was back by the end of the episode or the beginning of the next episode or something.
Yeah.
I think that might have been when he went out for drinks with Lucius Fox, and he's now, can I trust you? Yes, you can. Strange, is that you in a mask?
He's like, can I trust you? Yes, you can. 2 seasons later, Bruce isn't doing anything, Mr. Fox. We promise he's not.
Yeah, we were rock climbing. There's no rocks. This is a city. Oh, well.
Oh, my word.
Technically.
Another thing about Ra's in this, too, is, and this might bleed over into some of the Bruce discussion, but, I was so focused on my reaction to what Bruce did to participate in the death of this child that it took me a day or two to realize, wait a second, Ra's slit a kid's throat. Is that something that Ra's al Ghul was? Well, because again, my focus was solely on Bruce. I was how could Bruce let this happen? Bruce is responsible. Bruce. I was well, wait a second, I'm so on that I'm not even thinking about the ramifications that this guy is now a child killer.
Yeah, we gotta talk about this. I like Jen laughing at that.
I'm sorry. It's just oh my god, poor Bruce. Wait, he killed a kid. 2 days later.
Oh no, poor Bruce. Oh no. I ain't poor Bruce. I'm pissed at Bruce. We'll get into that, but was I ever pissed? But it's Ra's kid. I let him play with Ben at Comic-Con. Not Ben McKenzie. Ben.
You let him play with young Ben McKenzie at Comic-Con.
The young kid Ben that traveled with us for Comic-Con. I let him play with Ra's al Ghul. Little did I realize that his throat could have been slit at any moment.
Remember, he was all you look under your bed in my hand. It's there. I was oh, okay.
What's your favorite part about playing Ra's al Ghul?
My favorite part about playing Ra's al Ghul is the fact that he is really difficult to get to know. So you could meet me on the street, and I would be your best friend. But later that night, I could get everybody else together and turn them against you. And then I become a demon. And I haunt your dreams. And you will never wake up. And then you look under the bed. And that hand is me.
Cool.
Wow. Thank you.
I'm down. Thank you guys. Thanks very much.
Now you get your throat slit.
How did he pass security going to Comic-Con? Because security was tight as hell that year, too.
Well, he kills his kids outside of the Comic-Con, not inside the Comic-Con.
He kills them in museums with, like, props.
In Gotham.
Yeah, were they at a museum? They were at a Coliseum in the end, right? For some reason?
No, they were at a museum.
Okay.
Weren't they?
I don't. Do you remember how Gordon knew
No,
where
it was
they
in
were?
the library.
Well, yeah. Before we get into that, I do want to stick on the point of race because I think it's a talking point.
Yeah.
Now, I was kind of wondering a lot, like because we're 4 episodes into the season. Is that right? 4.
Mm-hmm. And he's in prison.
Yeah, he's in Blackgate. I was thinking, like so far, you know, it's been an interesting portrayal of the character that I know Jan and I deeply love. I think Jan more than I do because she's the one to remember his ethnicity more for the past.
How cool!
Yeah, I fought you.
She did.
I fought you.
But he's one of my favorite like supervillains. I am not innately oh, Rachel would never do that. Like I think he would do anything he wanted to. I will say this season has been incredibly vague with like what he wants because Rachel Gould he's not
really.
Well, I mean, he's not a cackling supervillain who's like, I want the knife. He's meant to be somebody who he's like one of those villains who doesn't think he's a supervillain. Like he wants to like save the world by basically wiping it out, like making it sort of an environmental paradise and like restart the population. And they've not mentioned that once. And when he kills his kid, okay, I'm like, okay, what is his end game? Like what is his? He always does stuff for a reason. He's not a savage. So
yeah,
I'm kind of really waiting. Honestly, I want to wait till the next episode to see like what is he playing at, because he's not some sort of like Hugo Strange penguin maniac. Like he's a much different villain than we've seen before in the show. Unless this show just straight up has no idea what he's about. So like
they could have just simplified him for Gotham.
Which is honestly, it's and like I'm such a stan of these characters. It's like either do them right or not at all. But
I said to Dawn that I'm not sure if the whole like purifying the earth is his plan in this show, and like
because like in the Under the Red Hood film, which a lot of people love, and I really like that too. I actually thought it was out of character for him to bring back Jason Todd, because in the comics Talia did that. But like, so I'm not saying that like he would never kill a child, but at the same time, he would never kill a child for no reason. So it's like, so I'm waiting to know like why he did that rather than just be a prick.
Hold on. And Under the Red Hood, he did it because the child should not have died. He thought that Bruce would get there in time.
Oh yeah,
so he was trying to fix his mistake. That's why he put the kid in the water.
Detective. Which he says detective this episode, and it's directed towards Gordon. And
f*** off with that.
Well, technically, he is Detective Gordon.
I don't care. Yeah. It's homeless cop he's talking about.
I know. As for your whole, I don't know what Raish is doing, so far what I've put together is he has a destiny to fulfill because he was put in the water, and then he needs the knife to fulfill it. And he's done and he had that whole speech about having like, they had that whole paper, or he did the speech. No, he did the speech to Gordon about there being a man who lived a long time and did a lot of terrible things. So I don't think like he really cares much for anything. And he's also, it looks like he's trying to train Bruce still, because Bruce is vital to the success of whatever it is he's going to be doing in the future. That's where the breadcrumbs are leading me. I don't know what his end game is because they're vague about that, but I think they're just trying to do like a big reveal thing, unless they just announce it next episode and then like resolve it in the next episode after that. But
well, consider it this way, because consider him in the finale of season 3, where he had like the giant off Dracula cape, and he had like the beard. And he's like, Bruce, use the waters. Like
that's why I said people clothes. Like
not Dracula clothes. He's not a Dracula right now. He's a people.
Well, Denny O'Neil did say that in creating him, he doesn't look like the Joker, but at the same time, he doesn't look like a normal person, like the way he dresses. But he was like, at least on surface level, like pretty Ra's al Ghul-y in the last season finale, and in this one, he's like running around, swap and split with Barbara Keene. Like, he has no henchmen. He has no like backup. He has no Ubu. Like he's very much getting his hands dirty.
No henchmen. Well, what do you call Dog Guy and his trainer?
I don't know, mutants. Like I don't know what the hell that was about.
You call them dead.
They're
Gordon calls them Mario, and you know what Gordon does to Mario.
Here, Mario. Here, boy. Out the window. I mean, I'm not saying I'm mad or pissed yet. I'm just saying, so far, it's been a very like different race than the one we're used to, and I'm waiting for them to justify that. And because this is Gotham, I will probably be pissed off, but I'm giving them at least one more chance.
Oh, I'm so sorry you're giving them chances if you're gonna get pissed. I'm just sitting here and I'm like pretty much flowing, and it's like if they do, I'm not sure how they can piss me off at this point. Other than more than him swapping spit with Barbara Keene version.
I liked him this episode. Him killing a kid, that is horrifying, but like I don't feel like it's not like Ra's al Ghul was ever like, oh, we must protect children at all costs or something. And I read a graphic novel from like the late 80s, early 90s recently where like he does almost kill Tim Drake. Bride of the Demon, I think that one was.
Yeah.
Because
he's married.
Of the Demon. Yeah, to like a Hollywood star. That was really weird.
He's making out with Barbara Keene. It's not as weird.
Which that made me think of this story because I was like, how many times have I seen like Ra's like hook up with a woman? And that was like the only story that immediately came to mind. But him being like dragged off in handcuffs is a weird sight because like it's you don't really see that much in the old like books. Because usually Batman would like punch him, he'd get knocked down, he'd be like, I'm going to take him to the authorities, but like you wouldn't see him like holding the jail bars, like Joker.
In Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, like Batman tricks him into like getting to Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
It is a weird sight, but there is like
cool
precedence, and there is kind of like a Heath Ledger Joker thing where he's smiling like, "Aha, I am right where I want to be."
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of that in that. I mean, I know that like you guys, especially Josh, are is much more like, well, let's see how Gotham stuff. It might be funny, like it might be. I mean, but it's just like. This is why I didn't want him on the show in the first place, because I knew that they would just like juke him and like oh well, we have Ra's al Ghul, but it's not really because we can't do this. It's like kind of like get off the pot. I know I'm swearing a lot, but like it's Ra's al Ghul. Like he's too good for the show, so don't make him not that.
It's not that. I feel like he would have been better like 2 or 3 seasons down when they could have done like a bigger, more worldwide plot.
Honestly, if Bruce was older, it would be a lot more justifiable. Like I don't see him being interested in like a 16-year-old Bruce Wayne.
And as for what he gains by killing the kid, I think it messes with Bruce's moral center, and it drives Bruce closer to the dark side, which is what he ultimately wants. So,
he said you're learning before he did it.
Yeah. So I think he was more than happy to do that. But like, it is hard to like not hate someone who just like slit a child's throat. So unless you're sick in the head.
I was saying before we move on to Bruce, because we were going to get the meat of it, but like, I think Gotham as a show it's a very violent show, and I think like it's a show where the violence is very ill considered. Like they will do a lot of horrible things with very little like resonance. Like it doesn't mean anything that a child's throat was slit, or someone was fell in a piranha tank last season, or all this kind of stuff. Like this is. I mean, it has a viewer discretion advised often for a reason, but it's so frequent that it's like violence for violence sake.
I don't know.
I kind of resent it. Like I kind of resent it because of that.
No, too. I did talk to the actor at New York Comic Con last weekend, and he was just so delightful. Like he's like such the opposite of his character. He's like very happy and jovial, and he like I showed him the picture of I showed him the picture of him and Ben from the press table last year. He's like, "Oh yeah, how is he doing?" And then like,
how's his throat?
He recorded. Yeah, how's his throat? Can I have access?
Is it supple for my knife?
God.
Hey, he recorded a little like video message for Ben, which it's like, "Hey, how are you doing? Like I hope you're enjoying Gotham this season." Then like afterwards, he's like, "Hey, so did I scare him too badly at the press table that one time? Did I traumatize him? Was he okay afterwards?" Like, so he's such a nice guy.
Oh yes, that was you.
Yeah.
I do remember it at Comic-Con last time. Did he enjoy himself that day?
He enjoyed himself, yeah. The video's on if you want to say hi to Ben.
Hi Ben, how you doing? Good to see you. I know you can't see me right now, but you can wherever you are today, which isn't today. Figure that out. Good. I hope I didn't traumatize him.
And then he slits your throat.
He's such a nice guy who plays like the most violent Ra's al Ghul ever.
Is this going to be like the new thing where like Gordon kills Mario's and like Ra's like slits the throat of
That's what they do because Ra's
any child.
Ra's like snapped a kindly old man's like head. Well,
I can't wait till Ben sees that episode.
Oh, he saw it.
Hi, I'm Ben. You might remember me from Comic-Con.
So, how are you enjoying Gotham?
It's pretty good. Honestly, I'm just wondering why Bruce is a killer.
So, that's what I said. Donovan and Jan, they were saying, oh, Bruce felt bad about it. So do you feel like Bruce is responsible for his friend's death?
Okay, so he's like kind of responsible and kind of not. Yes, he could have stopped it, but he needed to keep that safe because only heaven knows how many people would die if he didn't give it. If he did give it to Ra's al Ghul.
But it's just a knife. I mean, and I don't even think Roz needs it. He already had another knife in his hand that he was, using on his friend's throat.
It has magical powers, and this is going to become even weirder than Smallville ever could be.
So, by the way, what kind of a shirt are you wearing right now?
Batman one.
How's the collar on the shirt?
What?
How's the collar on the shirt?
It's just a t-shirt.
So, but how much of your neck is the collar covering?
None of it.
Okay, because Donovan and Jam were concerned if you were protecting your neck.
Why?
Because it appears that Ra's al Ghul is, after the neck of boys, so... And after that moment...
And man, I need, an ingrained exoskeleton for my neck. I want to use...
Yeah, so make sure that your neck is protected, because he did tell you that he'd be hiding under your bed. And, when he reached out for you that one time, his hand got pretty close to your neck right there, so I don't know. Are you concerned? Are you worried? Are you taking precautions?
Nope.
What else did you think of the episode?
Well, basically, Bruce got the virus, and his true self has signed out, and now you see the killer side of him.
So you think that Bruce is a killer?
Yep. Give him a virus. It'll be killing like crazy, man.
What did you think of the dog villain and how Gordon defeated it?
Honestly, I feel bad for him. I'm imagining, what types of hypnosis and everything would have to happen to make him like that.
What are you most looking forward to this season?
Honestly, an epic fight between Solomon Grundy, Catwoman, and Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon, if that might ever happen. If not, then I'm looking forward to see what happens with Bruce, if he will don a more baddie costume, maybe get a cape, because those are awesome.
Alright, well, anything else that you want to say to the people before you say goodbye?
I guess that Bruce is a killer and you should never trust him.
Alright, well...
And he is emotionally insane and he's psychotic. Yep, I think that covers everything.
Alright, well...
And Ra's al Ghul should be forgiven for his crimes.
He's forgiven for his crimes?
Yes! Yes!
Are you just saying this to protect your neck?
Yep.
or because you and him are best friends now?
We are best friends.
Alright, well, that's Ben from the League of Assassins.
So...
Let's get to the main show.
You'll be expecting Talia to do it tomorrow.
And now, back to Arthur!
Again, would he ever do this? Maybe, but, you never see him do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's because he's supposed to be more mysterious and have more of a powerful presence where he doesn't actually have to do those things manually. In this show, like you said, he doesn't have the whole huge entourage. He doesn't have the League of Shadows because the League of Shadows was basically... No, he did have the League of Shadows. They're all dead because Gordon took the dead.
Yeah, Gordon became
for God's
samurai.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
He killed killed all the men.
I hate that.
One thing I will say about them using him on the show too is that if you're gonna have Ra's al Ghul on the show, don't like make him like a throwaway villain that like just can like get taken out in one punch. Like I do feel like he's a credible threat in this show. Like he's been a credible threat to Gordon and Bruce, and like at least it feels like the stakes are high. Like he's not trying to like poison Gotham's reservoir or like something like that. Like
this is another problem that Gotham has. This is an inherent problem that Gotham cannot fix and can never fix, because these villains are supposed to be so bad that only Batman can stop them. And like they've established that Gordon can save us from the Mad Hatter, or he can save us from the Scarecrow, or whatever. You have the Demon's freaking head. There was no way that Ben McKenzie can outfight the Demon's head, or even Bruce Wayne. If Ra's al Ghul really, he's 600 years old, maybe even older. He's had centuries of experience. If he wanted to, he could just wipe them out. So like the idea that like he's in season 4 of this kind of show, it's like Darkseid and Smallville. It's just not. You just don't buy it.
Hold on. I think they said he was like an ancient Sumerian person. He's like thousands of years old in this show.
Oh, this show he's older than, because I think he's only 600 in the.
Well,
comics.
they showed a flashback last week where it said like X amount of years ago, and that was like the first time he was in the pits.
I don't remember how long ago it was, but I remember that it was like really old armor, and I feel like it was, I don't know if it was AD or it was probably AD, I guess.
I feel like it was AD.
It was like
still pretty old. And he was in that book. So going from heavy discussion to light discussion, Officer Harper, this episode, like, it's weird because Ben McKenzie said at Tribeca that the easiest character to write for was Harvey Bullock, yet like Harvey Bullock was not in this episode, and like instead Officer Harper like just did all his stuff.
Do you think it's because
I think it made more sense though.
Do you think it's because Donald Logue wanted to spend time with his reclaimed daughter?
I don't know what the timeline of the filming was, and I think it's just one of those things where like I feel like some actors just like get a week off from the show every once in a while, so maybe this was Donald Logue's week off. I love Gordon hanging up on her. Well, I forget what he told her to do. She's like, Gordon, I looked up.
Or how do you spell that?
Yeah, hang up.
No time. I don't have the extra 10 seconds to tell you this. I got dogs to murder. Click.
Oh god, let's talk about the bounty hunter, the henchmen,
assassins. Oh yeah.
If no one else has anything to say about Officer Harper, absolutely.
No, she's right because those. Yeah, go ahead. Those are weirdos.
Yeah.
I mean, like the only thing that Harper really gave us was support for. She was a support character. She was like.
She said Ralph Ghul, and I am forever grateful. Ralph Ghul, so I am forever grateful.
She kind of had a Miss Peabody haircut too, which was weird. Like the last episode, she was like dressed as a cop. This episode, she has like nice Hollywood clothes and like a Peabody haircut. It's like, oh well, she's like this kind of cop as opposed to like a beat cop. It's like, okay, whatever.
Maybe she's a vice cop. You don't know.
What kind of vice involves that kind of haircut? Like, is it like
I'm considering dressing up as a homeless cop for Halloween, but like, how would you do that?
Just dress like Jim Gordon and fix your hair.
Have a Jim Gordon badge.
Yeah, I want something that visually says homeless cop, so I'm thinking of like wearing one of those like homeless beanies and like
Ben McKenzie's SAG card,
and then just like having a cardboard like paper saying like homeless cop need a Mario to shoot or something. I don't know. Okay,
People meant to move in with.
Must be the daughter of a mob boss. Yeah, those villains were weird. They felt like season 1 villains, and the way that they were defeated was comical, but like. What was it? And they showed that clip of like the guy drinking out of the dog bowl at New York Comic Con with like Barbara and like Rach, like, oh, it's about time you got here. Look at these people. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, maybe when I see the episode, it'll make more sense. No. And then I saw the actual episode and I said, what?
Oh, you're so positive. Like you have this beautiful positive mindset when you go into things like, oh, maybe it'll be better. No.
And every single time. My dark days on Crawl Space. Where like I gave a book an F because I didn't like the cover.
What?
I forgot about that.
Why did you turn into Donovan?
That's the most negative thing I ever did on a podcast ever. Was like I gave a book an F because I did not like the cover.
Yeah, I'm the one here who's like, like screw this show. It makes me cry every day.
Oh my gosh, but I understood what they were trying to do. I guess something different, something new and colorful, because they do like to have that camp on there, and they haven't had the camp on there for a while.
That's a good point.
So I think he just wanted to try his hand at a little comedy, and that was a weird-ass visual. Like, he's just leaning over, running on all fours, trying to attack things. Followed a bone out the window.
The actor was great. He did a great physical performance, but it's just like, WTF, man? Like,
and then the other guy looked like the Hound from Game of Thrones.
All right.
It was just in there like, okay, I guess you're supposed to be dog. And
how did Gordon finish him off?
He pushed the bookcase on him, or no, he survived that. How did he kill him, Josh?
Didn't he stab him with like a dinosaur bone or something?
I don't even. You know what? I was putting on makeup. I probably missed that.
Honestly, that was like honestly, I was so focused on like Gordon just like killed a guy by playing fetch, and then like
I saw
just,
that
like
part.
let a kid die. So the least focus I had on the scene was that like, oh yeah, Gordon also killed like the dog's trainer.
Yeah, that one didn't seem as, because I remember he pushed him into the display, and then the next thing I saw was like the dog guy flying out the window because he was like mesmerized by the femur.
It's a femur worth dying for.
Was it though? Was it really?
I was like, what's happening? Because he stopped and he did the thing. I was like, is this happening? Is this really happening? Why is this happening? And then he threw it out the window. And
can I ask? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I ask? I don't understand, because like in the scene with like Alfred and Gordon at the GCPD, and Alfred shows him like this box. Gordon takes it like, you betrayed me, Alfred. Then like automatically knows where Bruce is.
Yeah.
Like, how did he know where they were?
I'd have to watch that again, honestly.
Why they were in the museum or the library?
Yeah, at the very end. At the very end, though.
Didn't he? Wait, were they in the library at the end? Was that like the foyer or something?
The library was in the middle. Like
I think they were in. I think that they were in the original museum where like the curator worked. I think because that was like a museum at the end. I think they were like.
But they're going on a lot about like, we don't know where Bruce is, we don't know where Alex is, we don't know where they are. Then like Gordon knows where they are, and they go to a new set that we've not seen before. That was not a.
Yeah, that's what threw me off.
Right.
Okay, yeah, because there was a dinosaur display. Wow. Yeah.
I feel like I'd have to watch again because, like, but it might have been explained and I might have missed it because I was too busy like laughing about like Ralph Gould and like other stuff.
Yeah, it was like there was just so much in this episode that was like delightful and infuriating.
A regular Gotham episode.
Yeah, this is a basic Gotham, like the usual Gotham episode. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I didn't know how they got there either because they just showed up. He's like, stop! And I was like, what?
So Bruce Wayne.
Alright, let's do this.
I want to talk about.
I'm still working out my feelings for this. I think that this was a good episode. I think this was a well done episode. But this is a phrase that I borrowed from John Wilson, because sometimes John Wilson will say, if I was in the room when this was being planned, I would not have suggested this. So like, I guess that's the case here where like, I'm not mad at the episode, but if I was in the room when this was being planned, I don't know if I would have Bruce be responsible for child's death, which I'm sorry. He was not only responsible for the child's death, the grandfather to a lesser degree, that was like a little more indirect, but like, first of all, like, you know that, like, everyone's after this knife. Don't endanger these people. And whatever, Bruce didn't snap the guy's neck, but he was told, give the knife or the boy's throat will be slit. And Gordon, being the voice of reason, because Ben McKenzie wrote this, he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should give the knife. And Bruce is like, but it's so shiny and I love it. Okay, Bruce, if you don't hand the knife over, that kid will no longer be alive. He will be dead. And Bruce is basically like, he doesn't say I'm cool with it, but he acknowledges that like he understands the consequences and he's not going to hand the knife over.
I think you're playing up this fictional glee from Bruce, because he was like kind of like fretting, but he says, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. He wasn't like looking at his fingernails.
It wasn't glee, but it was like he acknowledged that like
he understood the consequences.
He understood what the consequence was, and he like and I know he's not Batman yet. And if he was Batman, you know, he would be able to like fake it or figure something out or figure out a way
something.
Right. He would like do a false knife, or he would like give the knife to Roz, but then like, you know, like Robin would be waiting outside the door, like, you know, or the
he
knife
would have taken pictures of the knife and just given the pictures to them.
What?
Like Detective Comics 38. It's like, no, Robin, stop the picture. We have the evidence.
Oh, okay.
No, because if you take a picture of, they could have just taken the picture of the symbols on the knife and then given the pictures to the guy instead of the actual knife.
But I think Race wanted the actual knife. Oh, exactly. Oh, you mean at the beginning to the museum guy?
Oh my god!
Yes. Okay.
I'll just leave this here with you overnight.
I thought you were suggesting that like when Race is saying hand over the knife, Bruce, that Bruce would hand him like 8x10 photographs, and Race would like be fooled because he doesn't know the difference between a photograph and a knife.
Awesome. World's greatest detective.
World's greatest detective.
Bruce, that's not a knife. Those are... I know, Gordon. Play along. Oh, yes.
He just tapes them all together.
That's the knife, Bruce, for sure. Thank you, detective. You have done well. Now let me... I'm just like picturing Race comes into like Barbara King's like house. He's got like a shit-eating grin on his face, and Barbara's like, "What are you so happy about?" He's like, "I retrieved the knife. Those are photographs, dummy." Oh, Barbara, you fool. When you've been around as long as I have, you know the difference between a photograph and a knife. Yes, and those are photographs, not a knife. It's...
He sets him on fire, and he's like, "No, I've been deceived."
This happens to me every time.
My wife's going to kill me.
You didn't say anything about a wife. I hope Mr. Bane can swim.
Awesome.
I have no idea what's happening when I'm laughing anyway.
It's turning into Robin. But actually, grounding the conversation back to where you want it to.
Yeah. Oh, about him like killing.
Yeah, Josh, do you have anything else to add before we can open?
Oh, just that I'm horrified that Bruce did. Now that being said, I think that if you're gonna have Bruce do this, I think that the show had him be the appropriate amount of like guilt and like.
Oh yeah.
At least the show gave the moment weight, and I do hope that like unlike other stuff like that mob guy that Gordon killed at the beginning of season 2, that like this isn't forgotten about or like Gallivant.
Well, this isn't the next episode. Like it directly leads into Bruce's actions that they show in the promo.
Well, I hope that Bruce does like continue to feel guilty about. I thought that the moment was written well. I thought that David acted it well.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea of like this being in Bruce Wayne's history that like he made. Yes, Ra's slit the kid's throat, but Bruce made the decision to let that happen. And that's
okay.
I'm having a hard time with that.
Okay, now I'm gonna go like this. I thought of a couple of things when I saw this. I thought about because Stella on her show back at her Oakland a couple months ago, she reviewed that like 1997 Batgirl one shot where like it was like a flashback story where like Batgirl was really early into her career and she was like in a room fighting a bunch of guys and the guy was about to shoot an innocent person and she slammed the guy's head with like a fire poker and accidentally killed him. And Stella was having a hard time because like even though it was an accident, like it put blood on Barbara Gordon's hands. And I also thought of like Man of Steel, where like at the end in the rather contrived scenario, like Superman snaps Zod's neck, and it's like, I don't. Here's the thing: on the face of it, I don't really object to it. Now, you know me, like screw Ben Affleck, and I like Batman who doesn't kill, but like, I honestly think that because Bruce is still learning, and he's very clearly not Batman yet. He's a teenager, and he was trying to do the right thing. Like I know that you're really bigging up, like he let this kid die, but he was trying to do like the greater good. So I don't have a problem with, because I don't feel like his character is ruined. I just think that he made a mistake that he would learn not to do later on. I think that it was kind of contrived because I don't really see like the episode leading up to that moment. I have a bigger problem with, and I'm not trying to be funny, I have a bigger problem with police detective Gordon, the cop who has the gun, and I've gone over this with Josh. Like real talk, seriously, if a guy has a knife to an innocent person's throat, and you're a cop and you have a gun, and you say drop that knife or I'll shoot, it is within your legal duty to prevent the loss of life by shooting that person. So he kills the kid, and Gordon still says drop the knife. That's just not how real life works. Gotham writers, Ben McKenzie. And I know
Gordon showing restraints,
but it just doesn't watch, honestly, Gordon could have said, Bruce, give me the knife. I can't, it's important. Gordon could have said, Bruce, I'm telling you as a cop, as he points the gun to Bruce, give me the knife, because Gordon's acting as though Bruce has the upper hand in this, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
But what's he gonna do? Shoot Bruce?
No, but he should just pull rank and shoot Bruce. Take the freaking knife from him. What's Bruce gonna do? Run away? So I felt like Gordon reneged a lot of his moral authority as a policeman.
Moral authority with Gordon.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I think the scene could have been like Man of Steel. The scene could have been written a lot more believably, but I think at the end of the day, I understand where it's coming from, and I don't resent it because they're trying to develop Bruce's character, and it's a really harsh way of going about it. But I understand what they're trying to go for. But I think that it was still kind of contrived, and a lot of it depends on what happens next episode.
Yeah.
And I argue with Don,
what does Jan think about it?
I was just gonna say that from what I've read of Batman, he takes a lot of the weight of a lot of things. I feel like even if he gave the knife over to Gordon, he still would have felt responsible because he didn't give the guy photos. He gave him the actual knife at the beginning of the episode.
Photos are now part of the conversation.
Forever. Because it would have been the smarter thing to do. You've got money, you can afford
or have the guy go to Wayne Manor.
Exactly. Where you can watch it. But no, we're just gonna... I'll leave it. You have to leave it here overnight. I was all like, are you stupid?
Like it's a car getting a new engine.
Exactly. I was like, you can't just copy down the symbols in a couple of minutes and then give them back to him or something.
And at this point, I'm wondering, is that Ben McKenzie's fault as a writer, or is it was it dictated that this should happen? Was this an outline that he was working off of? And I don't know.
I think he was just trying to build up to that end where Bruce feels guilty and has to live with the weight of his decision, and then it also shapes him as a character. I think that's what he was trying to build up to. But I do agree that it could have been done in a different way because he made a lot of mistakes. Okay. I love Alfred.
Thank you.
I love him so much, but and sometimes he'll come in and he'll give some good advice. He should have came in and said something like, yeah, we'll just take some pictures over there. We don't have to take the knife. We'll keep it on us.
Well, at the beginning, he said, "Are you certain, Master Bruce?" And Bruce basically, said, "I want to find out what it is." Okay, end the conversation. He didn't say this is a dumb idea.
Yeah, but he could have said, I don't think we should actually leave it here. We can just take pictures or something, or take a piece of paper, spread it on there, and use some pencil and get the symbols on there. Something. Worked for Indiana Jones.
I texted Don during that scene saying that Bruce and Alfred were doing exposition, "Are you sure we should be at this museum doing this thing?" As if they didn't talk about that on the car ride over.
Yeah, that's Hollywood. That's why are they there? As though it weren't obvious.
Well, here we are at the whatever it was on Simpsons.
Everywhere.
The haunted house.
What an odd thing to say. My thing with Dom was like, I don't see what Gordon would have had to have gained by shooting Raish at that point because it wasn't
his goddamn job. He's a homeless cop. Like, what do you mean? He's not gambling poker here. Like, it's his job to shoot somebody.
Do you shoot somebody like when there's nothing to gain by it? I'm asking honestly.
Are you serious, Josh? He's a cop. Like, it's not about gaining anything. It's about protecting the innocent. And that's not.
But there's no one to protect at that point. The kid's dead.
No.
You were supposed to shoot him before he was threatening the child. He had a knife to his throat. He could have shot him in the face.
Yes, Gordon wasn't looking at the ladybugs. He was keeping his eyes, his gun trained on Raish. When Raish's shoulder flinches as he's thrusting the knife, Gordon should have shot. I know, because Gotham doesn't know how reality works. Like, he slit the kid's knife, and then Gordon's like, drop the knife still. Like, that is, no cop in the world would do that.
No, someone would have been shot in the head.
Yeah. I do love when Bruce like teleports into like Barbara Keene's house when Gordon's like interrogating her.
How'd you get in here? I walked through the door.
I'm looking at the notes that I sent Don when I was like when I was watching this, and the first thing I says is I need to keep on reminding myself that Gordon wrote this. Bruce's brilliant idea is blowing up in his face. WTF. Bruce just got a civilian killed with carelessness. This is when Grandpa dies. Okay, Ben definitely wrote this. Harper and Gordon flirt right away. Case of the Chemical Syndicate. What? Bruce wants to come... she was like, oh, I'm going to be keeping an eye on you. And he's like, oh, you can keep an eye. Something like that.
Wow.
Case of the Chemical Syndicate. Bruce wants to come along for the police. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I was like, I completely missed that.
I did too.
Half man, half dog. Yeah, Gordon wrote this. Ha 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 ha. Bruce teleports into Gordon's place interrogating Alfred. Gordon hangs up on Harper mid-sentence. Ha 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 ha. Alfred stops Roz and Gordon from kissing. Because, yeah, they were having like a Smallville moment there where their faces were like dramatically close to each other. Can you show me the knife to make sure that it's safe?
It's in my pants.
Can you show me you showing me the knife to make sure that it's safe? Oh, I think we know where the knife is. I think we do. Are you as turned on as I am? Even more so.
Then he takes a wine glass out of his hand, throws it onto the ground, and throws him onto the couch to make out.
Where the bloody hell's Gordon? What the bloody hell are you doing?
You smell like my ex-fiance. Yeah, she was the last one I was with.
Oh, man.
God.
Gordon
No, his
wrote
ex-fiance.
Yeah.
You need two X's.
That's like 3 Gordon girls ago. Yeah, Gordon wrote this. He and Alfred are marking their territory, and Gordon comes out on top. There's a second rap. The dog man is effing stupid. Gordon kills 2 people in 1 minute. Yeah, Ben wrote this episode. Then this is when the kid dies. I said, WTF, 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 Bruce, ... WTF, that ending. Oh, wait, 7 minutes left. But Bruce, why Bruce? Interesting enigma confrontation. Ha 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 ha. That was probably the same pose line. Homeless cop, action is his reward. The end. Okay, we are going to have a lot to say about Bruce this week.
You wrote the end. But let's kind of see where we're standing on this one. Like Jan, do you mind having this in like Bruce Wayne's personal history that he let a kid die because he messed up?
Personally, no. If we could have avoided it, then yes, but Gotham, so no. And I think Josh said it. He was very, he acted it out very well, and the reaction to it, and the weight of it, and one of the things I do like when they do Bruce, is when something happens to him, it sticks usually.
Yeah, Josh is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what were you saying?
Well, Josh is playing up the idea that Bruce didn't care when that's not the show.
I didn't say he didn't care. I said that in fact, I said that he obviously felt guilty about it later. What I said was Bruce acknowledged what the consequences were. He had a full understanding of what his actions were going to do, and he did them anyway.
But it wasn't being a rebellious jerk.
It wasn't like he said, I didn't think that Raish would actually do it. I thought he was bluffing. Like, Gordon was saying, okay, give him the knife now, or this kid's gonna die. And Bruce is, I'm good. Okay, no. That is more blasé.
Yeah. When you say, like, he was fine with it.
I just can't turn off my parody voice.
Well, but like Bruce, because I feel that like Bruce was like panicking, like he was sticking to his guns, but like he was like very much like I really don't want to be here right now. It's like a devil's choice.
Yeah, he was trying to think of the greater good because he knew like this one guy. It was one of those one versus the many decisions, because he could save this child now. Like this guy who's like his age, like that's what like someone his age, very close to him, and they were like becoming friends. This was like a hard choice that he had to make. He could save that child or and hand the knife over and possibly have this guy fulfill something. Like he had to think of all the stuff he's had to go through. I mean, he had to go through the stupid Court of Owls thing with the shaman.
Yeah, all those flashback needles.
Yeah, and then also the whole Tetch virus being unleashed all over Gotham. He had to live through that too. So he had to live through like a lot of stuff. So it's like this one guy or like I don't know what's going to happen. So he was trying to make the best decision that he could, and all he knew for certain was that he couldn't give the knife over. And I will agree with Don. Gordon was so worthless in that scene. Why was he there? You had a gun.
To be the voice of reason because Ben McKenzie wrote it.
I don't care what anybody says. It's like a cop has a gun to the guy's like, drop the knife or I'll shoot. So this kid's drop the knife or I'll shoot. That's not.
He had like a clear shot because like the entire top half of his body was.
Yeah, because Siddiq's face, Siddiq's like grinning face was like, like I see you.
Yeah, because the kid was like so short. Oh,
we didn't see any of Selena in this episode, did we?
No, we didn't. No, none of her. It's the only siren that we saw was Barbara.
none of that one.
I actually really like how they're using the actors in this season. I mean, they're not like trying to overload them and like we need to have this person in every episode for like no reason. And every time they show up, it feels like there's a purpose for them. Like even Victor came in for like 2 seconds, but he needed to be there. Freeze.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't really like that, but at least it wasn't like a freeze.
And also,
episode.
I just felt the need to say that he looked really cool.
His suit looks great. It's like the principle of the thing you see.
That was The Demon's Head. Next week's episode is called The Blade's Path.
Yes. In this episode, Nigma comes face to face with Butch Gilzine, but he is not who he used to be. Ooh. In an attempt to regain power and identity, Nigma decides to put his former partner's skills to the test. Meanwhile, Sophia Falcone takes action to protect her own life by appealing to Penguin's vulnerable side. With the power of the dagger in his possession, Bruce surprises those around him with his bold actions in the all-new A Dark Knight, The Blade's Path episode of Gotham airing Thursday, October 19th. Guest cast, Kelsey Griffin as Detective Harper and Marina Benedict as Cherry.
Cherry, I guess, has something to do with this underground fight club that we're going to be seeing, which, do you want me to say who's going to be in the fight club?
Is it Gordon? Does he live in the broom
like
closet?
Just like the OCJs.
Does he live in the broom closet?
There's a character who we've not seen this season yet that will apparently be like a resident at the Fight Club Society.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
Is it Bane?
Yeah. I'll give you a clue. It's Gordon's psychopath ex-fiance. You need to be more specific. The promo. We see a little Solomon Grundy born on a Monday at the end of that promo, so that's cool.
We see like Rachel Gould in his like Javier Bardem from Skyfall jail.
Is that where you go? I go to Silence of the Lambs or Hannibal.
Yeah, those work too.
Yeah, I guess they take child killing really seriously in Gotham.
As opposed to all the other murderous crimes that like Ben McKenzie did himself.
Basically.
Yeah, when Ben McKenzie was in Blackgate, he wasn't in a cell like that. Because did he go to Blackgate in season 2?
Oh, yeah. That's the Gotham prison.
Yeah, he basically Ozzed it up. That he had like a bunk partner and everything.
Yeah.
He watched Christopher Malone urinate right out of Oz.
What did I want to say? But yeah, I can understand why they're going after this again, but I'm still a little confused because didn't we address the I'm not going to kill anybody thing already?
Yeah, and they already had, him wanting to kill Race because of what happened to Alfred, so it's like, is it something that we need to see exactly? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out. I really don't have too much else to say about the promo. I am looking forward to seeing Solomon Butch again, and
yes, my love.
It is interesting how this season we're waiting a long time before getting back to all the characters. But until next time, this is Josh.
This is Don.
This is Jan.
And you've been listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast.
City of Justice,
my neck.
City of Love, City of Peace, for every one of us.
Every one of us.
I miss this song so much.
I do too. I've loved it since before this podcast because it was so ironic.
Yeah, but the absolute worst was Bullock for 3 episodes in a row, asking Jim if he and Lee were a couple. It was stop asking. He's rumor has it you and the Doc were making out in the locker room.
Who's talking about Gordon's love life in the locker room?
Anyone who accidentally walked into the locker room and was
you don't accidentally walk into a locker room. It's open access. If you're a man and and depending on what you identify as in different states because of the North Carolina laws, whatever, but it's not it's not like the locker room was closed off to the rest of the world. If I walked into a locker room at work and a guy was making out with a girl in there, that's going to be the office gossip.
Yeah.
Miss Kringle and and Detective Flask and her other boyfriend were all whispering about that Gordon was totally banging a girl in the locker room, and I think he's living there too.
Gordon has a history of just having the grossest sex.
Barbara Keene walked into that locker room too, now that I think about it. Does Gotham's GCPD has not only no security, but apparently girls can go into the men's locker room anytime they want.
It's like Canada, they don't lock their doors.
Yeah. Hey,
Canada sounds like a nice place.
And then a week later, Bullock's so you and Doc Caliente, eh? And he's yeah, I guess so. And then the week after that, he's so you traded the purse for the... I remember that. The purse for the nurse.
That was a dumb line. The what? For the who?
Whoever wrote that got fired.
He was the main writer of Alan Montoya.
It was... All right, well, that was fun. My favorite part of the episode was the whole photograph discussion.
We are insane. When you were explaining it, I was this man's brain is the funniest thing I've ever encountered.
It was just the way that, you said it, where it was yeah, he could have just... Because we're talking about Raish. And you're he could have done this to Raish. He could have done this. And then you said, yeah, or he could have just given him a photograph. And I'm thinking you're talking about Raish, and I'm what? And I'm
yeah, because there was no... my mind was but if he'd given him a photograph at the beginning of the episode... But
I just love the runaway train of that, where Raish goes back to Barbara Keene, all accomplished, I got the knife, and he doesn't know it's a photograph, and Barbara has to tell him.
He sets it on fire. She's no.
Or, like, better yet, like, Barbara and Tabitha and, like, Selena, they're all like, let's not tell him that that's just a picture. And he, like, tries to stab people with it. And he's like, good lord, this man's skin is indestructible. The knife! It crumbles. It crumbles on his skin. I've never met a man whose skin is like this. Like, he has, like, Selena and, like, Tabitha, like guard the knife at all times, and, like, they have to, like, march back and forth like the OEO, EOO, like, guards from Wizard of Oz. Like, OEO, and it's like, Selena's like, I wanted a seat at the table, but I didn't realize that the table was effing stupid. And Tabitha's like, you wanted us to work with Barbara Keene. This is we're gonna guard this freaking photograph.
And then Ivy shows up like, because she ate all those chemicals.
Let's just write the rest of the season. Yeah, we haven't seen her in like a month.
I actually wonder what would happen if the whole bad family got poisoned with the Tetz virus.
It would be a comic book written by Frank Miller.
In Elseworlds. Because every single superhero would die.
Because Frank Miller wrote a comic where Batman was a jerk and he made Dick Grayson eat rats when he, like, adopted him. He made him, like, sleep in the Batcave and eat raw rats.
What?
And sleep on, like, the cave floor, yeah.
And what's happened to Tim in that?
There was no Tim in that. We have, like, 6 seasons for him to get a cape, depending on how long the show goes. And it may be and then 4 seasons later he'll get the ears.
Oh no, that would be like season 10 when he gets a cape, and then season 14. If this lasts to season 10, that would be amazing, because then we will finally beat Smallville.
Well, Smallville went 10 seasons. If this goes to season 11, then it will beat Smallville.
I know. I bet it will just rise to like get like 10 seasons and 1 episode, and at least it's like, oh yeah, Smallville, get back, Tex.